Um, Hi, I'm Larry Threadgill. Welcome to our 5th video on the Havamal. Today we'll be using, once again, the study of Havamal by Huginn and Muninn Publishing Company. A great book. And we'll be using this continuously throughout the series. Today we're going to be working on Stanza 5. I'm Lawrence Threadgill with the Ríðar Wyrd kindred out of Tacoma, Washington.
Nelson Young, Elder and Vice President of the Ríðar Wyrd kindred, as our chieftain had stated.
I'm Beatrice Holmes for the Skald, that's the secretary of the kindred Ríðar Wyrd.
I'm Don McFarland. I am the Hearthman, Minion, and General Gopher for the kindred known as Ríðar Wyrd.
Okay.
I'll be reading from the Chris Chisholm translation of the Havamal from 2009. A little more recent, but it's still just as good.
And we can put up a link for that one also underneath the video if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Okay, and we'll get that up there for you very shortly so you guys can utilize that free resource.
Right.
Okay, so without any to do, I'll begin. Stanza 5. He hath need of his wit who wanders wide, aught simple will serve at home. But a gazing stock is the fool who sits mid the wise and nothing knows. From Pray. Good.
Oh, thank you. Okay. From Thorpe. What is needful to him who travels far? At home all is easy. A laughing stock is he who nothing knows, and with the instructed sits.
Wits are needful to he who travels far. The dull should stay at home. He will be mocked who cannot sit with sages.
Wits must he have who wanders wide, but all is easy at home. At the witless man the wise shall wink, when among such men he sits by bellows.
Okay, so historically, how would you interact with this one?
Well, in Scandinavian culture, typically they didn't say that something was true, or they didn't comment on something unless they absolutely believed it. So there was your first thing. So sometimes, you'd wander into a neighboring town or a neighboring village and you'd say something that everyone else may already know is false, or you're saying something that maybe you've been out hunting for a month or two and you're not up to speed on the current gossip, right? It's better sometimes to keep your mouth shut and listen than it is to stumble over your own words and say things that are not true.
Right. So the other thing I was thinking of is if you're a stranger in a strange house and you're staying for the night, to go along with the first 4 iterations that we've read so far.
Right.
If you're new somewhere and you're interjecting everything you think you might know, make sure you actually know it before you say it, because otherwise, as Thorpe says, you become the laughing stock when you know nothing, and you're sitting with those that actually know what's going on.
Right.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. With the pretty much, if you're in a new place, don't say or do anything that if you don't know the people,
right,
and you don't know how they may or may not act towards anything that you have to say, that's not to say anything at all.
Right.
I mean, that'll get you kicked out.
Right.
Right.
Pretty much. And it's also not necessary to go far geographically. If you decide, if you're a farmer who's never really been off the plot, and you decide to go into town and suddenly say you're going to sit on the council now, without knowing exactly what the council does, you're going to look pretty silly after a while because everybody will know you have no competence in this at all. So just work on it gradually. Work up to the fact where you're invited to join, and then you know you're ready for it.
Right.
Right.
Right. Another thing that I'll point out in this particular, this particular translation is that it says, "Who cannot sit with sages?" And we know that a sage is another name for an honored elder who may be a little bit more experienced and knowledgeable. So it kind of speaks to that whole thing of becoming a man, you know. And I look back to my own life when I was 18, and my grandfather looked at me and was like, "Hurry up and conquer the world when you still know it all," you know.
Right.
You know, so it's kind of like the same thing, you know. Shut up, listen a lot more, and if you don't know, say nothing. It's Beatrice.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Good. It's good advice. I mean, modern advice says everyone eventually rises to their level of incompetence.
Oh.
I like
It's
that.
knowing when you get there, it's not really a good place for you to be. That's the mark of true wisdom.
Right. Right.
Okay. Yeah, because you don't know what you don't know until you know you don't know it.
Exactly.
Right.
When the boss comes in and says, "I need this by tomorrow," and you say, "Huh?" Then you know it's kind of, not
Right.
And it's saying, as a traveler, use your wits, keep your wits about you, because if you're entering into that conversation, and just keep your mind to what you know, because if you don't know it and you don't know it, then shut up and listen for 5 minutes.
Yes.
I mean, we're sitting here talking about our own interpretations of
Yeah.
this, but there may be somebody out on the other side of the camera who knows a lot more than what we're talking, so that's why we need you guys to give us your input in the comments, because you may have a translation on something we haven't seen yet, we haven't thought of.
Right.
And that's important, because
We
the
need to
only
learn from
way
that.
we learn is from other people. And the only way other people learn is through interaction.
Right. Right.
But you also got to learn when to not interact.
Right. Facebook's a very good example of that.
Oh, okay. Back to the Facebook thing. What do you mean?
Well, I'm sorry,
do.
but you have armchair generals, you have politicians who sit on their couch and solve the world's problems, and these are not bad things. Exercise your opinions, please. Just understand that the world's problems are never solved sitting in a chair.
Yeah.
Get up and go do things. And as heathens, we tend to live by the whole thing of we are our deeds.
Right.
You know, so here we are sitting here reading words, but it means nothing if you don't apply it to everyday life. Knowledge is what we've learned. Wisdom is applied knowledge.
Yeah. And it wouldn't honestly do us any good to just sit here all day and talk about it without at least giving others the chance to either learn about what we know or what we think about it.
Right.
Or them saying what they think about it.
I mean, and it tends to be also, depending on what your occupation is, there may be someone who is younger or older than you. Age has no relevance, but they may have more experience than you in a certain area. In which case, they're the sage, you're now the student.
Right.
Okay,
so back to the actual stanza. I know we squirrel all over the place. Ratatasker is exactly who plays around on this table while we sit here every single time.
Yeah.
But that's a good thing. I'm good with that.
Yep.
So, which translation do you guys like, and why?
if anyone would like to see this one again.
Oh yeah.
I drop at least once.
Wait, this is all in Norwegian. Where is it?
It's on the other side.
Oh. Okay.
You see it?
Not yet. I see one.
It's all on the right.
It's all on the right. Okay. Well,
English right, Old Norse left.
Okay.
That's why I like it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, personally, I like. Okay. Bellows is always very more modern and very.
Yeah, I noticed that.
His translations are more of a now
Well,
version to me.
yeah,
They're not literal.
the other ones sound a little bit more, almost like they're trying to be Shakespeare.
Poetry, yeah.
Yeah.
Poetic.
Well, it is poetic.
Yes.
So
Yes, but it's different.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know,
So
why is
why?
it different?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of it has to do with the Victorian age, when a lot of this was written down, and the epics were then retold. That's why some of the names of the gods are different in certain translations than others. Such as the name of Odin's wife, Frigg, was then changed to Frigga, because they figured that Frigg sounded not as feminine as they would like, so they changed it. And they did the same thing with Ithun, Ithuna, Iduna. You know, so there's varying examples, but that's one of the reasons why it's in Shakespearean form, is because they were trying to put it in a more eloquent manner for the time period.
They wanted it to be flowery.
Right. Yeah.
And wordy. And that's normally, that had to do, I like this because it shows like the different times.
Right.
With the way that each different one is represented. Like you said.
No, just with the translation.
Barrows is more modern. And
Right.
the others are older.
Right.
And they show that.
Right. No, I definitely agree. And the other thing is too, is we have to remember that, you know, $2 words don't mean anything. You don't really understand them. No one understands you either. So
Yeah.
putting things in a more modern tone definitely, you know, I mean, not all of us are scholars, and not all of us spend hours reading the same like 10 words over and over, trying to figure out what the hell they mean. So a more modern interpretation is definitely better because it's easy to understand, and the easier it is to understand, the more applied.
Yeah.
Well, and yes.
Sorry.
Well, that's what I like Bray. I like the first one. Mostly because I've been listening to a lot of Leslie Fish lately. Are you familiar with Leslie?
No.
Oh my God. All right, we must talk later. Anyway, she's a singer-songwriter, a legend among folk singing circles. And this first one fits in right in with one of her most favorite rhythms, or most favorite melodies. Fed and washed should one ride to court, though in garments none too new. Thou shalt not shame thee for shoes or breech, nor yet for a sorry steed.
That's the next stanza.
That's that one right at the top.
Yeah, that's 6.
I thought we were doing 6.
We're
No,
on 5.
Damn. Wait a minute, 5? Okay.
Yeah,
Number 5.
number
It's
5.
page 14.
What? Which one were you
Okay,
looking
so we're having technical
Technical difficulties. Yeah.
Okay.
Don't look at me. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
I see I was led to that one because I like that kind of thing.
Right.
That one fit in just perfect. Okay, let's see now.
That one doesn't.
No, that's not it. Show me the damn page. You can take that out in editing, right?
Maybe.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, none of these will work.
You tried.
No, it was
Oh
nice.
wait, no, the last one does. Okay, that's Bellows. Yeah. Wits must he have who wanders wide, but all is easy at home. At the witless man the wise shall wink, when among such men he sits. Okay, yeah, Bellows is good.
Okay. Okay. I got nothing.
Beatles?
What?
Which one did you like?
Oh, I was wondering about that. Well, I like Bray because of the, again, flowery.
Okay.
And it's again, just falls back on the older style of poetry that I'm used to knowing.
Yeah.
Well, the nice part about the poetic speech, the old English way of speaking, is not only did it, you had to choose your words very carefully when you spoke.
Yes.
But also the way you had to speak the English language at the time made you actually think about what the person said.
Mm-hmm.
So communication was a different factor from the way we speak now.
Yes.
Very true.
Because although we have slang and we have different connotations of words coming from different areas, which the same thing comes from heathenry. Not every single village practiced the same religion the same way. It varied from place to place, from area to area, from region to region, from country to country. But we run into the same thing nowadays, where we can look at an Old English transcript and look at it, and it takes us like 5 minutes to figure out what the heck the first sentence says, and they go, oh, he went to the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and you know, there's certain things that are written around the turn of the 1700s, you know, early 1700s to late 1600s, where they use words that we don't use anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Like hereon and hereby, or
Core.
right. Or, you know, accept it be instead of accepted to all or accept to none. Instead, they would say accept it be. And so, you know, they would use 3 words instead of 1 word. Whereas nowadays, we kind of say whatever how we want because people understand us. And if they don't, well, then we move to someone who does.
Right. So language changes over time.
Oh, yes, very much so.
So that's one of the other reasons why it's nice to be able to study this with 4 different translations in front of us.
Right.
So, well.
I also like the one that he.
Oh, you like his version also?
Yeah.
She likes the flower.
Yeah, I do. Oh, that's cute.
Well, it's true.
Okay. So we will put a link on our videos for this, and that way you can get your hands on some free literature also.
Right.
As it's all public, that is public domain.
Yep.
And thank you for joining us tonight. And so to end this, as usual, make sure to like, share, follow, ring the little bell thingy, and please let us know what your thoughts and interpretations are.
Yes.
We want to hear from you just as much as you want to look at our video.
Right.
And we hope you want to watch the videos.
Right. And should you comment, even if we don't like your comment, if it's respectful, we'll leave it.
We'll probably comment back to it.
Right.
Thank you, and have a good evening.